Welcome to Savvy Business, Life Unscripted, with your host, Christina Rivera, where our guests share their wisdom and valuable business tips, empowering our audience to expand their personal potential.
Hi, Yonas, Hagos. Welcome to Savvy Broadcasting, a Life Unscripted. I'm so grateful to have you here this evening. How are you?
I'm good. Can't complain. Thank you for having me.
You betcha. I was looking at your history before we got together here, and I feel so blessed to have you out here because, boy, you've done extraordinary in your life. Anyone who has excuses about I can't make it in life, well, they need to go look at where you came from and where you've ended up. You own several restaurant franchises, but you started out as an immigrant, but have worked your way up. You were in the military, you served, and now you're kicking butt. But before all of that came, I'd love for you to share, when we get going as well, your new book, From Scrappy to Self-Made, what entrepreneurs can learn from an Ethiopian refugee to turn roadblocks into an empire, which you totally have. But before we go there, what even prompted you to write your book?
You know, it's funny. Years ago, when I first started my entrepreneur course, or whatever you want to call it, people were mesmerized the fact that I served. I got wounded in Iraq, and how I just started doing things for my first business venture. So they said, you need to write a book. And, you know, it sounded good at the time, but I think there were other plans for me to accomplish what I've done throughout the years. So I had Gary do an article on me on Parade Magazine in 2020, I believe. And then the article went well, and he was on Forbes magazine. He called me up. He goes, "Hey, you ever thought about writing a book?" I said, "I think I'm ready." You know, I felt like I've accomplished enough, and I wanted to tell my story. You know, whenever people hear my story, they're inspired. So I like to inspire people. I've been inspired by many other successful business entrepreneurs. So felt like giving back and just teaching people what I've learned. Anyone that wants to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Interesting. I hear the word entrepreneurship thrown all over the place, but I don't think people really sometimes have a good handle. What does that mean? What is an entrepreneur? I mean,
you know, it's funny you say that and the word success is thrown around loosely. You know, entrepreneur, when people ask me, I want to be an entrepreneur. And I say, well, what do you do? Well, I'm such and such. I'm like, okay, you work 9 to 5. Well, throw all that away. You're going to get calls at 2 a.m. There's no holidays, vacation. So it's an entrepreneur is someone that's just a go-getter. Through the good and the bad, you're going to figure a way out to make it happen. You're going to climb over obstacles and just the many challenges, if you're in business that come your way. Yeah. And hopefully I described that the right way. But yeah, that word entrepreneur is used loosely. I don't think people quite
understand
get it,
what it means, the implications. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's interesting because I remember when I got my consulting business going, I had this picture of eventually I want to work a 4-hour workday. I want to, do XYZ. And I soon realized that in order to be successful, in order to get somewhere where I could make a valid income and find clients and actually do right by them, it's not going to take 4 hours. Maybe over a period of time, many years gone by, if you built a team and you've scaled it up and you have people working on it and now you manage it perhaps. But then I realized, hey, I want to be in the nitty gritty. I don't want to take a break. I think it's interesting that the everyday person who maybe goes to a job is sold on the idea that one day you get to retire. I'm like, and then what? Sit there in a chair for about a week or on the beach with a cocktail after that? I think life is going to get pretty boring.
Yes, it's funny you say that. I say that to people, and I've met a lot of entrepreneurs, all walks of life. Obviously, you obtain success, you do well financially, you slow down, but most true entrepreneurs, they work till the day they're gone. I always tell people, look at Warren Buffett. I mean, the guy's, God bless him, love the guy, very successful, has inspired me in many ways. He's in his 80s. He doesn't have to work a day in his life. And the guy he's still working. He's an entrepreneur. Yeah. It's in his blood. It's just, you're an entrepreneur yourself. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And what I find amazing is if you take this and you go with, as you said, you're going to have calls at 2 a.m. You're going to have to deal with issues at any time, night or day, and you have to be ready for that. And maybe that lifestyle isn't for you. But here's the amazing thing, and I know you can talk to this yourself, is that it will pull out of you strength and tenacity and skills and talents you didn't even know you had until you were put on against the ropes and you had to figure out how to get out of a particular situation.
No, I agree spot on, especially like right now. I mean, the last few years have been very challenging in my industry, owning restaurants with, the supply issue and then obviously labor with staffing. And they're the same. Hopefully I don't botch this, but hard times, make strong men, and good times make weak men. So
Yeah.
challenges I've been facing, and many of friends that I have that are entrepreneurs like me, and we talk about it. We're like, it's rough, but we're still standing because so many things will challenge you when you become an entrepreneur. People ask me, "What is your day to day, Yonas?"
Not the same.
I'm a fireman. I'm always putting out fires. I'm like, there's no. I mean, yeah, I have certain routines I do, but there is no such thing as a boring day in my industry. Every day is something challenging, and it's fun too. I mean, it's so I enjoy what I do.
And, interestingly, I'm guessing, Jonas, that as difficulties come up, it challenges you to be that much better. It's like, and there's the opportunity if you look for it, because I think even in the most difficult of times, that is when sometimes the greatest opportunities avail themselves. If you're, going to take a seat back and say, okay, where's the opportunity in this moment?
No, I agree, and then when I first started, obviously I was ready to quit. You face these challenges, you realize, man, this is hard, but then you talk to others and you see how people that stuck it out have made it through, and you quickly realize, you know what? Sometimes through bad times, good opportunities come from there. And I've realized that, and I've cashed in on those.
Yeah.
It's
I've noticed. I do. Yeah. Let's go to the businesses you've chosen to really get into, and restaurant franchisee. Explain for people. I think almost everyone must know what a franchisee business is, but what prompted you to go into that sort of business, and what are some of the pluses to operating that type of business?
So I obviously, I would, everyone, I mean, franchising is much easier. I mean, you still have to work hard, but the wheel's been invented for you. You follow the process. And that's one of the things that stood out for me. I don't want to start up, a donut shop, but if you look at Dunkin or Smoothie King and all the other stuff I've been a part of, someone started that venture and has showed that, that process works. So when you're paying into a franchise, you're getting resources and support, and obviously they got marketing dollars. People are familiar with that brand. So, but people assume just because you own a Dunkin' and stuff, it's guaranteed success. No, I thought like that when I first got in, and I realized, nah, you got to really work hard, Yonas.
Yeah, you do. You know what's interesting? And I bet, tell me if you've had this for you. What can make you stand apart in your Dunkin' Donuts or your franchise is what is the quality of customer care you give? Because I've been to a number of different, maybe Starbucks, and one is not equal to all others. Some will have better quality customer care and treat their customers better. And I think at the end of the day, that's how you can be at the top, by offering something that maybe some of the other stores don't offer. That extra smile, that going beyond a little bit than some of the other stores.
No, it goes a long way. I've learned this in my earlier days with Dunkin' when I worked the store. Like, knowing you have regulars, and so I'll give you an example. If a guy, Bill, comes in every morning at 9 a.m., wants his large, no sugar and cream, and that's what he does on a daily basis. You see Bill walking out the door, or you see him getting out of the car. You have his large coffee ready with cream, and you spend about 2 minutes talking about his day, and that goes a long way. And then being involved in the community, but understanding your customer base, and people will come out of their way to your store because you have that personal relationship. And I teach that to all my staff members. It's, you can make or break someone's day, and just being nice and courteous and giving the best customer service goes a long way.
Yeah. Let me talk to an experience I had many years ago. There was a new shop that opened up in my neighborhood, a coffee shop right by the train station. And this is fabulous. I'll come right out of the train, get my coffee. And I'd gone there a couple of times, and each time they kept messing up my order. I didn't think it was that difficult. Cappuccino, folks. So, by like the third or fourth time, I'm really patient. But this time, they not only didn't give me a cappuccino, they charged me like $3 extra on the muffin or something. So I said, I need you to fix this. The woman's like, get out of the line. I need to take care of the next person. Well, that wasn't working very well for me. So we got into this little back and forth, and it turned into an argument. She said, "Get out of my store. You're not getting a refund. You're not getting a change." And so, well, what happened? I never went back to that particular coffee shop. Now, fast forward a couple blocks up, I had to go a little bit out of my way. I found another coffee shop, tremendous customer service, just like what you're talking about. They remembered my name. They had my coffee waiting for me. They knew when I come in every morning. So it was just sitting there. And that, knowing the attention to detail and that they cared. And if something did go wrong, they were willing to work and fix it quickly, can not only make the biggest difference in someone else's life, but also in the success of your business.
No, I'm thank you for sharing that. I couldn't agree with you more. That's just caring a little bit more goes a long way in this world.
Yeah. Yeah. And, like my husband always says, if everyone just gave a teeny bit, even if it's a smile on the street, what kind of world would we have? It would be tremendous.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. So let's say someone's listening in, they're going, hey, you know what he's done? I'm what Yonas has done. I'm a little like, could I do a franchise business? What do I need to know to get started if I'm kind of curious in entering that sort of business?
Now, obviously, we live in a world where we can get information at a, finger snap, as I call it. Do your research, go on the internet, Google, watch YouTube videos, then go talk to local entrepreneurs in your community. I'm sure there's multiple franchises in any town that people live in, and then obviously figure out what you want to do. And I always tell people, don't get into a franchise or a business just for the money. Make sure it's something you enjoy, you're passionate about. Because if you are, you never work a day in your life. And then from there, reach out to the concept or brand you want to be a part of. But, doing your research and talking to people that, like me, that have done it goes a long way.
And I'm thinking, location might be a good start to also pay attention to.
Well, yeah, of course. If there's a McDonald's in your town, you're not going to do another McDonald's. Figure out what it is. But yeah, location's key. Yeah, in my business, location.
Yeah. And what are you really, really hoping for people who buy your book really take away from your stories?
I want people to learn. I want people to be inspired, because people always ask me, how did you do it? And I mean, obviously the book, with all the chapters, will be able to tell, all the nitty gritty, but I want people to be inspired. I've come from nothing. I was born in a refugee camp, and this country gave me an opportunity. I worked my butt off, and it paid off. And here I am. And I'm excited to tell my story for people to read the book, and I hope they can get something out of it. I always say, if I can inspire one person, and one person can send me a letter years from now saying, I read your book and I was able to follow my dream. But whatever people decide to do, whatever they get from my book, they just got to put in the work and follow their dreams.
Yeah. And, to that, was there ever time on your journey where you felt like, oh, this is too hard, I can't do it? Or did you have that support system all the time, maybe from family, friends?
The first day, I remember my first Dunkin, obviously a couple of years later, I built the sales and I realized I had to really work. But, I was assuming you open the restaurant and you're going to have 1 million people lined up. And that's not how it worked. You had to build the business from the ground up. And there were times I wanted to give up. The first year was probably rough. The second year got better. And the third year, before you know it, you realize, like, okay, I'm not super comfortable, but I think I'm doing okay. I'm paying the bills.
Yeah, I'm getting used to this. I'm getting the hang of it. But also realizing the fact, and you've mentioned it a couple times, is that the consistent effort. And I think one thing I get from people that I don't think they understand, when someone's highly successful like yourself, they don't realize it was an ongoing effort and work over many years to reach the pinnacle of success they now have. And like Bezos wasn't built over, where he is with Amazon today. It wasn't like that day one. They look often, people, at where the pinnacle of success and be like, oh, wow, look, he just came out of the womb successful. It took years to build that success.
And people don't understand. I mean, there's a few other business ventures I've done where I've failed, and most successful people like Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates, they've all failed many times, but they picked themselves up. They've learned from their mistakes, and they're successful. But like you say, you see Jeff Bezos, you're like, oh, it must be nice. Oh, yeah, but the blood and sweat and tears that no one saw throughout the years he put in to get to where he's at. Everyone dismisses that, and all they see is what you have in front of you. But it takes a lot of hard work to get to where, I'm at.
Yeah, it does. And interestingly, I remember many years ago, I was just starting flying lessons, and I had an unfortunate incident where I hurt my eye really bad and couldn't see for a month. And one eye, I almost thought I was going to, go blind. And so I was very concerned because I kind of need my eyes for all my other work. And someone said to me, well, that just means you probably shouldn't do this anymore or pursue this. And I was like, well, heck no. But why I'm mentioning that is I think often people will run into hardships and be like, well, this is just the universe telling me I should not do this. And no, it's just like you said, failure is a part of building something great. And there is going to be failures, but it doesn't mean stop. It just means maybe pivot and keep going.
Agreed.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, where can everyone get a copy of your book, find out more about you? How can they do that?
Well, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, wherever books are sold, from what I'm being told. I've ordered several on Amazon myself. I believe they're shipping out next week, but I'm excited. It's kind of doesn't feel real to me right now. I got to pinch myself because people are like, dude, aren't you excited? You got a book coming out. I'm like, yeah, I guess. It took about 2+ years to write it. So when you're immersed in it, and then all of a sudden the book is done, you're like, wait, it is coming out. Yeah. But you can get the book at Amazon, Barnes and Noble, any bookstore that sells books.
Well, Yonas, I just have to thank you for writing this book and giving your wonderful take and inspiration to everyone, hopefully inspiring them to go out and build their great success. And thank you so much for coming to Savvy Broadcasting today.
No, thank you for having me. I enjoyed this. Thank you.
Like, subscribe, and share this episode. To listen to more savvy episodes and savvy biz tips, go to www.lifeunscriptedradio.com. To find out about our paid sponsorship opportunities or how to become a guest, email Christina at lifeunscriptedradio.com.